Maybe you're starting a business, maybe you already have, or maybe you're just curious about how much you could realistically make in your first 6 months or so. Gotta say, fella, I admire the curiosity. I mean, you don't want to waste your time on something that would not be worthwhile now, do you? I think it's important to start out by saying that any business in the world can be broken down into one or two things. It's either a service business or a product business. Anything that you could think of is gonna fall into one of those two categories. Accounting, service. Uber, service. Anything in a store off a shelf, then it's a product. Both have advantages and disadvantages. You could grow multi-billion-dollar companies with either of them, but if you're going as a solo person, then oftentimes it's a lot easier to scale something like a product than it is a service, even if it does take quite a bit longer to gain traction. I'll give you an example. I bought a software called Recut. It's something that I use a lot in my editing business, but it was $100. And it's also something that I have an affiliate link for, by the way. Now imagine this is something that gets 100 people a month, and that's probably a horrible underestimate with how many people promote and use it. So 100 multiplied by 100, that gets us to that famous acclaimed $10,000 a month. But it might have taken him a lot of time to get there. So the first question that always comes to mind is what you actually want to do, whether that's a product business or a service business. That could be an app, could be t-shirts, maybe it's stickers or paintings, or a skill that you have that you're better at than most people, and you can use that to commission it to whoever needs it. Whether that's video editing for businesses like what I do, web design, or using a traditional skill set like legal work, accounting, medical experience, consulting. I personally pay about like 50 euros or something for someone else to do the accounting work for me because I just don't want to deal with tax laws or any nonsense like that. So it's definitely something established, and it's what I'd say is the best route for someone starting new to follow the same advice that I did back then of starting a service business. Oh, but you're still gonna suck. And massively too. And you're gonna feel like you shouldn't be sucking that hard, even though you're sucking super hard, and you won't even know why you're sucking that hard. You're just gonna suck, and you won't have anyone to point out why you're sucking, but I'll bet you that social media is gonna tell you for sure that you're sucking by showing you all kinds of screenshots of people making absurd amounts of money. But as a word of comfort, don't think too much about all the fancy screenshots from people that you see online. A lot of the time, the truth is heavily misrepresented. Whether that's they're talking about revenue and not profit. Whether it's talking about a very good month that just happened to come to them and didn't repeat after that. Or they've actually been doing this for years and they didn't tell you about it. But to be very perfectly honest with you, you're not gonna make money for the first bit, and that's completely fine. You're still learning. Because the straight up truth about this is that there is a mind-boggling amount of information that you need to internalize about this whole business thing before you start to make any kind of significant numbers. And this probably applies most to me. Before all of this, I didn't touch social media. I didn't interact with anyone or barely at all, and I didn't know how to video edit for jack. I was pretty much a ghost. So I was literally playing this from the underground level, so it's no wonder that I've been doing this for 2 years and I've just made 1k in the last 6 months. Oh, for the record, I have done in total about 5k, but I haven't been officially registered until about 6 months or so. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Back to the video. I want you to look at this graph real hard and keep it in mind. Look at it every single day because you're gonna be there for a while. The reason why this line feels so long at this earlier point and why I've just barely started looking at the upward slope of it is that because at the very start, the entire period of it is just falling flat on your face and then learning and then trying again and then falling again and then just repeat and rinse that cycle ad infinitum. Because there is no foundation, there is nothing there. So the entire period is just learning what kind of business you want to do, learning how to get the skill for the business, now learn how to market that said business, how to get leads for it, and how to land those leads into sales. Setting up pricing, negotiating, closing a deal, and getting your first bit of money coming in. Great! Now repeat it all over again. Constantly. Many times. And that takes an eternity beyond the revenue, because that's just gonna come either way if you try long enough and hard enough. And if I could go back in time to when I was first starting, I would just do a lot more than I was doing at that time, because everything was downstream of that. The money comes from the leads, and the leads come from marketing. If you nail that, then everything else pretty much just takes care of itself. Maybe you want to hear more about this stuff, about how you actually narrow down the kind of business that you want to do, and for that, I think this video is pretty good. I have a newsletter where I talk more about this stuff, so if you're interested, it's in the description. With that, I hope to see you soon after you sub for this channel, and bye.